Hi, Darren Lewis with District 13, Division 7. On Friday, February 12th and Saturday, February 13th, I attended the District 13 conference in Clackamas, Oregon, and I'd like to spend a few minutes briefing you on some of the things I learned there. First, though, I'd like to thank everyone who helped us organize the raffle. We sponsored the raffle on Saturday night for the district. It was a great success, and we certainly had a lot of fun doing it. So, some things we learned. The first set of items comes from Commodore Jim Voss, who is the Vice National Commodore. Commodore Voss shared a number of things with us. The first of these is that there is a new paddlecraft safety course that's going to be available within the next month. And this is a class focused on canoers and kayakers and the particular safety issues that they face when they're paddling on our rivers, on our lakes, and in our nearshore environment. It's a great class, I understand, and this is a big issue for us. Paddlecraft are one of the leading places that we see people injured and die when they're boating in the United States. So this is going to be a great new focus area for us, and it will really reinforce some of the programs that we already have going on in the division around paddlecraft safety. Some of the great work that's been done in Flotilla 7-6, and I know that there are members throughout the division who are interested in making sure that paddlers are able to paddle safely. The next issue is that they've gone through, as promised last year, all the Coast Guard Auxiliary online tests to do an analysis of the questions and find where some of the questions weren't working well. We had a lot of members who were not passing tests, not because of their lack of knowledge of the material, but a mismatch between what they knew and what was in the test questions, errors in the test questions, and a few mistakes. So apparently that process has been complete, and we should see passage rates of those tests that better reflect what our members know. We also should expect to see the new auxiliary manual sometime in the next 30 to 60 days. This has been a long time coming. As you know, we have a lot of policy that has had to be released by all AUXs. And so hopefully all those changes will be incorporated into the new auxiliary manual, and I expect to see some additional policy changes as well. It will carry the new reorganization. A whole bunch of things will be in there. As always, when things change, please be patient. Let's have a look at the material, begin to understand it, and incorporate it into how we conduct our auxiliary activities. Another policy change that came out, and I believe was agreed just recently, is that we will be able to teach certain auxiliary courses remotely as long as there's a two-way link. This is not as big a deal for us since we tend to be focused here in the greater Portland metro area, but for our colleagues in the Dalles and our colleagues in Eastern Oregon, Southern Washington, in the Willamette Valley, on the coast, classes like the ICS 210 class will be able to be taught remotely as long as there's a two-way link. So an instructor could be here in Portland or in Astoria and teach a class of 10 or 15 people, perhaps in Tillamook or somewhere in Eastern Washington or Idaho. So it'll really help folks get through those qualifications and the courses that are required for qualification and maintaining qualification. So that should be a great change, and hopefully that will be incorporated at some point into future policy. We also hope within the next year or two to be able to do direct entry of member 7029 and 7030 hours, as well as our other mission areas. So we're probably going to see your ability, rather than filling out a form, to go directly online and enter that data. This has been an innovation that's been in the works for quite a long time, and I think it will definitely help us encourage people to report, and it will reduce the really quite large workload that our IS officers have had over the years. They'll be checking data once it's entered into the system rather than doing paperwork. That'll allow those folks, some of our best members, I mean, if you're willing to do the IS work, you're really committed to the auxiliary, it'll let them focus on other mission areas and on data quality and a variety of other things. So that'll be a great change. I'm really looking forward to that. That is very much on the longer time horizon. There isn't really a set time for that to come online, but I'm hoping to see it in the relatively near future. Finally, related to that, is an analysis is being undertaken of essentially what we report. So that's how we report. That we'll go online for our reporting, But the data we collect, and what data we collect is important. Well, we need to collect data that helps us understand what missions are being accomplished, record our mission accomplishment, and not collect any extraneous data while making sure that we get everything that we need. So there's a process ongoing to figure out what our metrics should be and how we should report those at what periods, and then how we get that data available to the Coast Guard Auxiliary and Coast Guard leadership so they can act upon it and commit resources and tie strategics, tie our activities into kind of a broader strategic overview. Which brings me to one final point, and I'll probably try to talk about this in coming days. Captain Engelbert, the commander of Sector Seattle, hopefully soon commander of Sector Puget Sound, talked about how we need to change our approach to working with the gold side. Our approach heretofore has always been going to, our sector commander or our local unit officer in charge at a small boat station and saying, what do you need? What do you need us to do? What do you need from the auxiliary? If we're collecting the right metrics, and with some work that's happening with how the Coast Guard assesses its missions and its risks, we're going to try to change that. We're going to try to change that culture to going to the sector commander, let's say going to Sector Columbia River, the commander, who is going to be Captain Culp down there, and saying, Captain, we have looked at your full range of mission areas and the things that you're responsible for doing, and we've identified that we can do this, this, and this is how we plan to do it. So it's rather than an approach of saying, what do you need of us? It's a much more proactive approach saying, we've had a look at what needs to be done, and this is what we can do for you. Obviously, that's probably not going to capture everything, but you're going to get a much more positive response. So, locally here in Division 7, rather than going to Chief Eaton and saying, when do you need us to patrol, we'll look at the complete mission profile, look at where his facilities can be, where his boats can be, look where we can use ours, and try to fill in the picture, right? Take a proactive approach. This is likely to give us much greater success in the long run and greater stability of our programs, because we will be assessing the resources that we have to commit against the needs, and stewarding the limited funds that we have available, going out and getting the mission done. So that's what those are the major high points of what I saw at the district conference. We got some awards that we'll be presenting at the division meeting. So if you get a chance, I encourage you to get out to the division meeting to see those. And as always, my friends, be safe out there and look to the safety of your shipmates.